Hi, this is Mr. Fleming. I'm the Lackland PSM, and today we're going to talk about pivot tables, which is a great tool for exploiting some of the data that may be in some of your Blisdom Alpha rosters, Excel spreadsheet that come out as Excel spreadsheets. So what I've done here today is I have a base alpha roster that I use. I've stripped the socials out of it here for PII. And so quite often I get asked questions such as how many master sergeants are on the base or how many people are assigned. And this is how I kind of do that work. This is a peek into how that gets done quickly and efficiently here in the PSM office. So the first thing that I've done is I've already set up my Excel spreadsheet as a table. I already made a video about how to do that. And what this does is it changes the structure of Excel to databasing. All of the rows are seen as records. So as we sort and filter, everything in that row is maintained as a record. The integrity is kept there. If you don't make it a table and you sort, you can begin to disrupt the accuracy of the data. So it's critical that you make the Excel spreadsheet a table. We've already done that here. So we're going to begin by going up here to Insert and up to Pivot Table. And what this is going to do is Excel's pretty smart. It's going to look at your table and it's going to pre-select the table that you've already done. And we're going to put this on a new worksheet and we're going to click OK. So now we have down here, you can see where it added sheet 1. And what we've done is this is our pivot table workspace. And here on the left are all of our data fields that were in the table. And then we have filters, columns, rows, and values. And I'll show you how this begins to work. Most of the pivot tables we will probably work with are pretty simple. I just need to know how many of something. So first thing we're going to do is, how many, we have to count something. We have to find a unique value for each record. And for us, that's going to be the Social Security number. So what we'll do is we're going to drop that in the values. And all I did is I just grabbed it and I'm dragging it and dropping it in there. Now, what this has done is you can see this has changed it to a sum. We don't need the sum of the socials. So if we come down here to the values, click on the value field settings, and we're going to want to count it. Okay, so that's correct. 18,053 records in Joint Base San Antonio. So this is the number we're starting with. Now how we analyze it after that is it's a lot of fun. So for example, how many master sergeants are there in JBSA? Well, 18,000 records. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to drop the grade description or rank, and boom, there's our master sergeants, 1682. But I don't want this whole list. So one of the things that the pivot table allows you to do is to sort and filter. So all I did is I clicked up here on the row labels, and I'm just going to deselect, and I'm going to select Master Sergeant, and there's 1682. And you'll notice as soon as I clicked outside the workspace, that menu on the right hand side disappeared. As soon as I click back in it, the pivot table fields comes up. But Mr. Fleming, how many are on each base? Well, okay, so we will look at the MPF, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that. If you see here, there's a very faint line as I move this either below or above it. So what happens if I drop it below it? What this does is it drops out Master Sergeant, Fort Sam, Lackland, Randolph. If I drop it above it, it gives me the MPF, the masters, under each MPF. Another way to do this is I could have dropped the MPF into the columns menu. And now I have Master Sergeant, there's a 1682 broken out like this. Now this is pretty simple. With how we do it. But let's say I wanted to know what units they were in. Well, what I would do is I'm going to drop units down here. And here's every unit. and how many master sergeants they have. But I don't like this master sergeant being here because I really want to use it as a filter. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop it up here to the filters. And now you're going to see it moves up top. And so now we have every squadron on by the base with the numbers. Okay? So we know here at Randolph, the first manpower squadron is here. This is kind of tough. It's kind of hard for me to use it this way. So I'm going to bring the MPF back over to the units. And boom. Now we have Fort Sam, every squadron that has a master sergeant, and how many. And we still have, at the very bottom, we still have that same 1682 number. All we're doing is we're just changing up how it looks, how we're going to organize the information. This is pretty big. I mean, a lot of squadrons have at least one master sergeant. Okay? So this may or may not be useful to someone. But if they were to say, hey, we need all the senior NCOs. I'll go back up. Remember where we deselected everything? Well, this time I'm going to select chiefs and I'm going to select seniors. Now these numbers have changed. Some of the squadrons have been added. Any squadron that didn't have a master but has one of them. And there's the total. Okay. Now, if somebody asked me to break that out, this is where I would put the grade back into the columns. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to center these. There we go. So now it's by base, by squadron, broken out by rank. So the 381st has one chief, 7 masters, no seniors, for a total of 8. Okay? Pretty useful. Pretty cool way for me to quickly slice this information and get it to a customer. Now, of course, I'm dealing with a large population, so there's lots of information. There's lots of data. Some of the other questions I get asked are numbers of females. How many females are there? How many? Who's the lowest ranking? Who's the? So let's see. I'm going to get rid of grade as a filter. So again, at the very bottom here, we should have 18,000 records. I'm going to get rid of squadrons just because it makes the roster so big. So here's the males and females by location, by MPF. Okay? How many are there? And let's say I only wanted to select the females that were between the ages of 18 and 25 for some briefing. I get age here. I'm going to put that in filters. And then I would select, deselect, and I'm just going to go 18 to 25. And there are the numbers. For a total of 6,000 or 2,000 females in JBSA. And you see this column? I can also filter here. So we'll get rid of the males, and there we go. And then usually the customer asks another question, hey, can you give us how many are in each age group? Yep, not a problem. I'm just going to drag that down here to the rows, and now it's broken out how many 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way for each base, and how many are in there. The totals stay the same. Okay, there's the 2064, but now I've further broken it out by age. Hey, Mr. Fleming, what unit are they in? Okay, I'm going to put unit back in there. Now I can put in unit, and I can either go the unit and how many they have, or the age and what units they're in. See how easy it is just to move that data around, and it changes the structure depending on whatever the question is being asked. But pivot tables are a great way to count your data. You can also do sums and averages, but for right now, this is a very basic lesson in how to create a how to create a pivot table to start counting things. This is really useful for groups and wing CAGs that that when the group commander or wing commander want to know how many master sergeants we have or how many tech sergeants we have and where are they at and how long have they been in. Pivot tables are the way to go. This is my secret weapon. I use this a lot, kind of the behind the scenes. how I'm quickly able to get information out to a customer without really, you know, having to do a whole lot of complicated work. I make Excel do it for me. So that's it. If you have any ideas of anything else you'd like me to make a video on, please drop me an email. I think all of you know how to get a hold of me. And thank you for watching.